Hey, I'll check here. Hey, today, by popular request, we are going to make some bread. What I'm going to make is it's kind of a sweet butter bread. Basically what you need is some butter, a couple of eggs. Now my eggs were in the refrigerator, so I put them in a cup of warm water because you don't want them to be, you don't want anything to be really cold because we need to let the bread rise. So the warmer it is, the quicker it's going to rise. So I've got my eggs sitting in some warm water. So bread flour, sugar, a little bit of salt, some powdered milk, and of course yeast. So basically what you want to do is you want to take about, and I'm going to put at the end of the video, I'll give you the total ingredients, what you need. Anyway, so let's get started. I've already melted the butter, about a quarter cup of butter. So what I want to do now is take some powder. I like to use powdered milk because I can make the milk, I can make it as rich as I want to and not have to use a lot of liquid like in milk. So what I usually do is just take quite a bit of powdered milk. Then take some hot water, about a cup of water, and I'll put it all in my bowl. Take my butter, and I don't want it to be so hot that when I put the yeast in there, it kills the yeast. It needs to be it needs to be warm to touch, not burning your finger, but warm to touch. I'm going to add my sugar. Now the sugar will help activate the yeast also. So I've got a quarter cup of sugar here. Quarter cup will make the bread taste a little sweet. Not like cake, but have a sweet kind of taste to it. Now I'm going to take my yeast that I keep in. Also, make sure you keep your yeast in the refrigerator. It'll stay for a long time fresh. But what we're going to do is we're going to activate the yeast. And by doing this, we make sure that our yeast is good and alive. And because you don't want to do this whole process with your activated yeast being dead, not working, because it'll be a waste of time. So I'll show you how to test it. 2 teaspoons of yeast. Now I'm just going to let that sit there and activate. Probably take about it takes about 15 minutes to sit there and activate. So I'm just going to let it sit there and then come right back. Okay, my yeast is risen. So is Paige, my wife Paige. So this is what the yeast looks like once it's activated. You'll see it start to bubble. So now I know that my yeast is alive and well. If it's not, it will just stay to the bottom, of course. But you'll have a really strong smell of yeast. So now what I want to do is add my egg. 1 egg. These eggs in Thailand are so hard. The shells are like really hard. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Now salt, believe it or not, especially when you're cooking like sweets, salt brings out the flavor of everything. It actually enhances the sweetness in the desserts and it enhances the flavor of the bread. If you forget the salt, you really can tell it's kind of a plain taste, but salt just brings out the flavor and everything. You don't want to use excessive amounts of salt, obviously, unless you're making like garlic bread or something like that. So I've got quite a bit of liquid. I got about a cup of milk, about a quarter cup of butter, and I've got an egg. So I'm going to guess here that it's probably going to take about 4 cups of flour to get the mixture that I want. So what I usually do is stir in about a cup and a half, get it incorporated really well, and then I just start adding from there to get the texture that I want. It's going to start getting thick to where I'm not going to be able to use this, which I think is about right now. So. Now the reason why I'm doing this, unless you have a stand mixer, which I don't have, you can put the stand mixer on low. If you put it on high, you'll have flour all over the damn kitchen. But I usually just do this. I've got a hand mixer that I'm going to use, but it likes to sling the flour everywhere. So I usually just kind of incorporate it like this first and then slowly start adding flour. Now you can easily do this by hand. It's not that difficult to do it by hand, but you need to knead it, and you'll need to knead it for about 15 minutes to get the gluten all out of the flour and get the mixture right, as you really need to activate everything for the gluten. Okay, so I'm going to put it on start the mixture now. So basically what you're looking for is something that's a little sticky, that once kind of sticks to your hand, but doesn't stick to your hand. You can just add a little bit more flour if it's too sticky, or a little bit of water if you've too much flour. But I actually didn't have to add any more flour. It was pretty good. So. Okay, well I got my bread, feels nice and soft. I'm going to make it into a ball. Now I got a clean pan and I put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of it because we want this to stay moist. We don't want it to dry out. So I'm going to just pop it in here, get the oil all over it. And then what I want to do now is cover it up, and I want to let it rise. So you can cover it up with saran wrap if you want to, make it nice and tight. But what I like to do, the easiest thing is just take a bag. You can take like a grocery bag, and just put it over the top of it, and bam, it's done. So what that'll do is it'll help keep the moisture inside the bag so that it doesn't dry out and everything rises. Definitely want to make sure it's in a warm place. Now if you don't have a warm place, everything's warm in Thailand, but what I usually do is put it in the oven so it's safe from not accidentally getting thrown away or ants or something like that. So. But what you can do, if it's cold where you're at, you can preheat your oven just to get it warm. You don't want it to get so warm that it dries out your bread. It starts to cook it, because that won't be good. So just warm it up for a second. If you forget about turning it off, leave the door open for a little while to where it's nice and cools off. But just put your bag over the top. Stick it in the oven, And then I'm going to let it sit there for probably about an hour. I want it to double in size so that I can start making my bread rolls. Okay, well, it's been sitting there about an hour and a half now, so let's check and see how well it's risen. If it's risen, looking good. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I would say that that's about a little over twice its size there. So now at this point, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and make my bread rolls. Now, this is when you got to decide what you're going to make. You're going to make little dinner rolls. You're going to make hamburger buns, hot dog buns, a decorated roll, whatever you're going to make. This is when you make it. We're going to make little pretty rolls and let them rise again for another hour. So right now I want to take it out and I want to separate this into, try to get it in equal amounts. So try to make it into a square. Now we're going to take these and we're going to roll them out, kind of using your fingers to spread it out. Try to get it equal if possible. Put these two together and then start twisting. I've already took a pan with some parchment paper. Okay, I'm going to make some little rolls now. Just kind of move it around, bring it around. That one looks good. That one, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so now you want to take your plastic wrap and a little bit of flour, and just kind of dust flour on here. And just set it on top. Don't let it get over the sides, because when that thing starts to rise, if it clings to the side here, it'll keep it from lifting up. And then whenever you go to take the wrap off, it'll like deflate. Okay, I've got them nice and loosely wrapped with a lot of flour on there so they don't stick. And I'm going to pop them back into my oven. And we're going to let that stuff rise. I'm going to guess probably about another hour it should rise. What I'd like to do, because since I put a little flour on that, I don't want it to dry out at all. So what I'll do is I'll take some hot water. So I'll just pop it, yeah, right there. So that way it gets nice and humid inside there, and it really has no way of drying out. So yeah, that's it. Gonna let it sit there like that and let it grow some more. Okay, let's check the bread. It's actually been sitting in the oven for 2 hours. I forgot I had school, so I took off. I study Thai language 2 hours a day, so it's been in here about 2.5 hours. Well, you can see the humidity. Well, maybe not. Take my word, there's from that hot water I put in there, it kept it nice and moist inside the box. So it looks like it risen pretty good. You want to be gentle with it, taking it, handling it, because you can deflate it by jolting it around or kind of over touching it, I would say. So if you deflate your bread, there's a good chance it probably won't rise again. So you want to be careful not to do that, because you will be very disappointed. So I'm going to preheat my oven now while I'm doing the next step. So now you want to try to gently take the top, the plastic wrap off as gently as you possibly can. Okay, so now, if you are wondering about that other egg, here's what we're going to do with that. All right, we're going to mix this up. And what this will do is give it a nice shiny coat. This is a really soft brush. You don't want to use anything really strong, so be very gentle when you're putting this on, or it will deflate. Okay, next thing I want to do is I like to put sesame seeds on there, really for decoration. I don't think bread looks like bread unless you have sesame seeds on it, especially hamburger bread. Hamburger buns. I'm going to stick my first batch in the oven. So let's get the oven started. And we want it to be nice and golden brown. So let's say probably about maybe 15 minutes. We'll try that. Okay, well, depending on how your oven is, how hot it gets, I've got my oven on 170 degrees Celsius, and it's been in for about 12 minutes. So I just kind of keep an eye on it until it looks like I want it to look. Of course, that's what it looks like out of the oven. So I'm going to put in my second batch here. Well, there's only a few things in life better than warm bread with butter on it. So let's take one of these open and take a look at it. I'd say it came out pretty good. That's awesome bread. So yeah, that's how you make awesome bread. Can't get it up there. So I hope you got something out of it. I hope you try it. I hope it turns out good. If it doesn't, try it again. Keep trying it. Bread's pretty easy to make once you get the hang of it. To me, as a man, making bread's like making fire. So you can make bread from scratch. To me, it's just as rewarding as making a fire. So anyway, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hey, look, but before I go, Paige got her hair color. Look. Yeah, it's red. So anyway, we'll see you on the next video. Bye. Okay, your bread's right there. Get it. Ha ha ha.